oxygen. My van, please. It has my medicine.
Stay down, veteran. You don't give the orders here.
Drop that taser, officer.
This is police business. Move along before I arrest every one of you.
Police tased a disabled vet and towed his van. 5 minutes later, Hell's Angels blocked every exit. When Officer Morrison tased wheelchair-bound veteran Carlos Rodriguez and ordered his modified van towed, he thought his authority was absolute until 20 Hell's Angels on Harleys surrounded the police station, blocking every exit. Day 1, 2:47 p.m. The Walmart parking lot buzzed with Saturday afternoon shoppers. Carlos Rodriguez sat in his modified van, scrolling through his phone while waiting for his 3 p.m. VA appointment across the street. The October sun beat down on asphalt where families loaded groceries. His van, equipped with wheelchair lift and oxygen tanks, occupied handicapped space for 3. Legally, legitimately, necessarily. But Officer Jake Morrison saw only what he wanted to see: trouble. Carlos Rodriguez, 34, checked his watch nervously. An IED in Afghanistan had taken both legs and left him with traumatic brain injury. The van wasn't just transportation, it was home, medical facility, and lifeline rolled into one necessity that kept him alive. Inside were oxygen tanks for breathing problems, seizure medication, and specialized equipment. 3 months homeless after losing VA housing, the van provided shelter while bureaucrats shuffled his paperwork. Officer Jake Morrison, 29, patrolled with chip on his shoulder that his brother Danny's death in Iraq had created. Resentment burned against veterans whose survival seemed like cosmic injustice. Why did broken soldiers like Carlos come home while heroes like Danny didn't? Morrison's phone buzzed with a text from his mother. Danny would be 31 today. The anniversary made everything worse, made disabled veterans look like living reminders of what his family had lost. Today, grief would meet authority, disability would meet prejudice, and 20 Hell's Angels would meet injustice head-on. Morrison's radar detected nothing illegal, but the sight of Carlos, another broken veteran living off taxpayers, triggered every resentment he'd been nursing for 5 years. The anniversary of Danny's death demanded someone pay for the unfairness of survival. Viral moment. Morrison's approach would be filmed by 12 witnesses within the next 3 minutes. 2:51 p.m., 4 minutes to impact. You can't park here, Morrison announced, ignoring the handicapped placard dangling from the rearview mirror. Officer, I have handicapped parking permit, Carlos replied politely, pointing to the blue tag. Waiting for VA appointment across street. I don't care about your appointment. Morrison's dismissal sent ice through Carlos's veins. His brain injury made confrontation difficult to process, but he recognized danger when he saw it. Sir, may I show you my parking permit? I said move! Carlos reached toward his dashboard for documents. Morrison's hand flew to his taser. He's reaching for a weapon. The shout was loud enough to make shoppers turn, loud enough to make teenagers start recording, loud enough to trigger the emergency alert system on Carlos's phone, a system that would change everything in exactly 4 minutes and 12 seconds. Shareable moment. Teenager's TikTok video starts here, 47 seconds that will get 2.3 million views. 2:52 p.m., 3 minutes to impact. Morrison's taser struck Carlos in the chest. 50,000 volts coursed through a body already damaged by war. The disabled veteran convulsed as his brain injury triggered a seizure, exactly what his medical bracelet warned could happen. Stop resisting! Carlos wasn't resisting. He was dying. Shoppers screamed. Phones emerged like weapons. Within 30 seconds, 6 different angles captured Morrison standing over a convulsing disabled veteran, yelling commands at someone having a medical emergency. "He's having a seizure," shouted Jennifer Walsh, an ER nurse shopping with her kids. "He needs medical help, not more violence." Morrison ignored her, calling for a tow truck instead of an ambulance. "Get that van out of here, now!" "Officer, that van has medical equipment," the tow driver protested. "Guy looks like he needs... just tow it." Viral explosion. Walsh's Facebook live video goes online. 127 views become $12,000 in 60 seconds. Meanwhile, Carlos's emergency system worked exactly as programmed. GPS coordinates, live video feed, automatic alerts to 3 contacts: VA crisis line, standard, Carlos's sister Maria, family, Jake, Steele, Morrison, brotherhood. 2:55 p.m. The call that changed everything. Steele Morrison's phone exploded with alerts while he led Saturday's Iron Brotherhood ride through downtown. 20 Hells Angels, most of them veterans, getting some weekend air. Emergency alert. Carlos Rodriguez. Location, Walmart parking, lot status, under attack, video feed. Live Steele's blood ran cold. Carlos, quiet Marine who'd lost his legs but never his dignity. Carlos, who'd given Steele his number just in case the system failed again. The system was failing right now. "Brothers, emergency response! Disabled Marine under attack at Walmart!" 20 engines roared to life in perfect synchronization. Distance to target, 1.2 miles, ETA, 3 minutes. Current speed, fuck the speed limit. Back at Walmart, Morrison was losing control. Too many cameras, too many witnesses, too many people shouting about seizures and medical emergencies and police brutality. Carlos's van, his home, disappeared onto the tow truck. Inside were oxygen tanks, seizure medication, and the last of his possessions. Everything that kept him alive, stolen by badge authority. "My medicine," Carlos whispered, barely conscious. Morrison didn't hear, couldn't hear over the sound of 20 Harleys getting closer. Cliffhanger. The rumble started as a whisper, then became thunder that made the ground shake. 2:58 p.m., arrival. 20 Hells Angels materialized like vengeance on wheels. Chrome and leather and barely controlled fury forming a perfect circle around the scene. Shoppers stopped screaming and started staring. Steele dismounted first, his 6'4" frame unfolding with military precision. Vietnam veteran, Purple Heart recipient, and current president of Iron Brotherhood, MC. His eyes found Carlos still seizing, still ignored by the cop standing over him. "Officer," Steele's voice could have cut glass. "What's the medical status of this Marine?" "Police business. Move along or you're all under arrest." Morrison's threat fell flat. 20 bikers, 20 veterans, 20 men who'd seen enough government abuse to last several lifetimes. Steele knelt beside Carlos, checking vitals with field medic training that never left you. "He's in status epilepticus. This seizure's been going too long. He could die." "I said move!" Morrison reached for his radio. "Back up." He needed backup right fucking now, but Steele was already on his phone with someone more important. Viral moment. Steele's call to Congressman Rodriguez Carlos's cousin would be on CNN by 6 p.m., 3:03 p.m. Social media, explosion. A disabled vet attacked started trending locally at 3:03 p.m. By 3:05, it was trending statewide. By 3:07, it had gone national. Jennifer Walsh's Facebook Live had 47,000 viewers and climbing. The teenager's TikTok hit 2.3 million views with a caption that broke hearts. "Cop tased veteran having seizure, then stole his house." yet no justice for Carlos. Morrison's supervisor, Sergeant Williams, was getting calls, angry calls, from the mayor's office, from internal affairs, from a CNN producer who'd seen the videos. Morrison, what the hell is happening at Walmart? Disabled veteran threatened me. I used appropriate force. These bikers are interfering. Morrison, I'm watching you on Facebook Live right now. Shut up and wait for me. 3:06 p.m., the phone call that ended a career. Congressman Miguel Rodriguez answered his phone expecting routine Saturday business. Instead, his aide was screaming about his disabled cousin being tased by police while having a seizure. Get me the Attorney General, now. Sir, it's Saturday. I don't care if it's Christmas. My cousin is a disabled Marine veteran being brutalized by police while the internet watches. Get me the Attorney General now. 3:12 p.m. Federal response time. The FBI field office in Phoenix received direct orders from Washington. Disabled veteran, police brutality. 20 million social media impressions and climbing. Full civil rights investigation, now. Agent Sarah Chen was in her car heading to Walmart before hanging up the phone. Meanwhile, Carlos's seizure finally stopped. He opened his eyes to see Steele's concerned face and Morrison's panicked one. Where's my van? Carlos whispered. Tow lot, brother. But we're getting it back. Morrison tried one last power play. Those bikers are threatening me. I need backup. Morrison. Sergeant Williams had arrived looking like he'd aged 5 years in 10 minutes. You're suspended, effective immediately. Give me your badge and gun. Sarge, these videos are edited. He was reaching for. Morrison, shut up. Anything you say is being live-streamed to 200,000 people. Shut up. Shareable moment. Morrison's suspension, filmed from 6 angles, becomes instant meme content. Day 2, Sunday morning, Carlos woke up in VA hospital, alive but broken. His van, his home, his medical equipment, his everything was locked in police impound while lawyers argued jurisdiction. Steele sat beside his bed, phone buzzing nonstop with media requests. How bad is it? Carlos asked. Bad for Morrison. Good for us. Your story's everywhere, brother. As justice for Carlos has 15 million posts. Congressman Rodriguez is calling for federal investigation. FBI is already involved. Carlos closed his eyes. Fame wasn't what he'd wanted. He just wanted his medicine. Sunday, 11 p.m., the tipping point. 60 Minutes called. Good Morning America called. The View called. Everyone wanted to interview the disabled veteran who'd been tased for existing while homeless, but the call that mattered came from an unexpected source. Morrison's mother. I saw the video, she said, voice breaking. I know today's Danny's anniversary. I know Jake's been struggling. But what he did to that veteran, Danny would be ashamed. I'm ashamed. Emotional moment number 1. Morrison's mother apologizing to Carlos on live TV. Tissues required. Day 3. Monday morning, FBI agent Chen arrested Morrison at his apartment at 6 a.m. Federal charges: violation of civil rights under color of authority, assault on a disabled person, and obstruction of medical care. You have the right to remain silent. Morrison's perp walk went viral instantly. Karma for Morrison trended alongside Dash justice for Carlos, but the real story was developing at the impound lot. Monday, 10 a.m., the van crisis. Carlos's medical equipment had been destroyed, oxygen tanks emptied, seizure medication expired from heat exposure, wheelchair lift damaged by careless towing. Your van's been compromised, the impound supervisor admitted. Insurance should cover. Insurance? Steele's voice was deadly quiet. That van was this Marine's life support system. You just committed attempted murder through negligence. The supervisor called his lawyer. Steele called CNN. Monday, 3 p.m., breaking news. Disabled veterans' life support equipment destroyed while in police custody. The story exploded. Donation websites crashed from traffic. Walmart announced a $500,000 emergency fund for Carlos. Tesla offered a custom-modified van. Apple provided new adaptive technology. But Carlos was dying. Without his equipment, his condition was deteriorating rapidly. Monday, 8 p.m. The intervention. Morrison sat in federal holding, watching news coverage of the man he'd nearly killed. Every channel, every network. Carlos's story had become America's story. Dr. Patricia Martinez, psychiatrist, arrived for his evaluation. "Tell me about your brother, Danny." Morrison broke. 5 years of grief, resentment, and untreated PTSD poured out in a flood of tears and rage and guilt. Danny died for freedom, and guys like Carlos come back broken, living off taxpayers, taking benefits while heroes are dead. It's not fair. It's not fair. Jake, Carlos didn't kill your brother. The war did. Carlos is just another casualty. But he's alive and Danny's not. Yes, and that's not Carlos's fault. That's survivor's guilt you're punishing him for. Emotional moment there's two. Morrison's breakdown and realization, raw, human, devastating. Tuesday morning, day 4. Morrison's lawyer brought an unusual request. My client wants to make a statement, not for legal reasons, for moral ones. The packed courtroom fell silent as Morrison, shackled and broken, read from a handwritten letter. "Carlos Rodriguez is a hero. I am not. I let my grief become hate, and I nearly killed a man who'd already sacrificed everything for people like me. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry." Tuesday afternoon, the miracle. Carlos was watching from his hospital bed when Morrison's apology aired live. Nurses reported his vital signs stabilized for the first time in 3 days. He's grieving his brother," Carlos whispered to Steele. "I understand grief." "Carlos, you don't have to forgive. I'm not forgiving the attack. I'm forgiving the pain that caused it." The statement went viral immediately. Forgiveness is strength became the new rallying cry. Wednesday, day 5. Morrison pleaded guilty to all charges, accepting 5 years in federal prison, but he also made an unprecedented request to dedicate his life to disability rights advocacy. "I want to spend whatever time I have left making sure no other veteran suffers because of ignorance like mine." Carlos's new van arrived custom-built, fully equipped, and home to the most advanced medical technology available. But more important was the letter inside, from the Morrison family, in honor of Danny, in service to Carlos, in hope of healing for all. 1 month later, Carlos testified before Congress about disability rights and police accountability. His story had sparked the fastest civil rights legislation in modern history. Steele sat in the front row, wearing his cleanest leather jacket and proudest smile. 20 Iron Brotherhood members had traveled to Washington, former criminals now recognized as disability advocates. The Carlos Rodriguez Act passed unanimously. Federal funding for disability training, mandatory medical equipment protections, criminal penalties for destroying adaptive devices. Morrison watched from prison, where he taught anger management to other inmates while earning his paralegal degree through correspondence courses. Sometimes, Carlos told the packed chamber, the worst moments reveal the best in people. The standing ovation lasted 7 minutes. 6 months later, the Disabled Veterans Victory Rally drew 100,000 people to the National Mall. Carlos spoke from his new wheelchair, custom titanium, GPS-enabled, solar-powered, technology that turned disability into capability. I lost my legs in Afghanistan. I nearly lost my life in a Walmart parking lot. But I found my voice in a hospital bed, my strength in a courtroom, and my family in the most unexpected place. He gestured to Steele and the Iron Brotherhood, now official congressional witnesses on disability issues. Sometimes, angels wear leather jackets. The crowd roared. The live stream hit 50 million viewers. Angels in Leather trended worldwide. Morrison's early release for good behavior was announced that same day. 3 years instead of 5, contingent on continued advocacy work. Carlos's foundation faced opposition from police unions claiming the new regulations were too restrictive. Some departments resisted training requirements. These rules handcuff officers dealing with dangerous situations, union leader complained. Carlos responded simply, "I'm in a wheelchair because of dangerous situations. Officers need training, not excuses." Morrison, now out of prison, testified alongside him. "I was that untrained officer. I nearly became a killer because no one taught me about disability, grief, or basic human decency." Their unlikely partnership, victim and perpetrator, united in reform, became the most powerful advocacy tool in modern civil rights history. 1-year anniversary. Carlos returned to that Walmart parking lot, but this time in a motorcade. The mayor declared it Carlos Rodriguez Disability Rights Day. Handicapped Space Number 3 now bore a bronze plaque in honor of all who fight for dignity, accessibility, and justice. Morrison stood beside him, no longer in uniform but wearing a Disability Rights Advocate t-shirt. They planted a tree together, roots growing from broken ground. "Healing," Carlos said, "happens when we choose growth over grief, justice over vengeance, hope over hate." Steele revved his Harley in salute. 20 Iron Brotherhood members followed suit. The sound echoed like thunder, like justice, like freedom rolling down the highway of human progress. 2 years later, Carlos received the Presidential Medal of Freedom, while Morrison earned his law degree specializing in disability rights. Their foundation had trained 50,000 officers, prevented 200 similar incidents, and saved countless lives. But the real victory was smaller, more personal. Carlos drove his adapted van fully equipped, federally protected to visit Morrison's family on Danny's birthday. They shared stories, shed tears, and honored a fallen soldier by protecting living veterans. "Danny would be proud," Morrison's mother said, hugging Carlos. "He died protecting freedom. You lived to preserve dignity." Steele and the Iron Brotherhood escorted them to Arlington National Cemetery, where they left flowers on Danny's grave. The inscription they added was simple: "His brother's grief became a veteran's strength." The Carlos Rodriguez Foundation had trained 100,000-plus law enforcement officers, while federal legislation protected 2.3 million disabled Americans from equipment destruction and medical neglect. Morrison's transformation from perpetrator to advocate had influenced 15 states to adopt restorative justice programs for officer misconduct. Steele's Iron Brotherhood operated disability advocacy chapters in 40 cities, while their Leather Jacket Angels provided emergency response for vulnerable veterans. Carlos's story generated $47 million in accessibility technology funding, while his congressional testimony inspired the fastest civil rights legislation passage in modern history. Police departments showed 73% reduction in disability-related incidents, while medical equipment protection laws had prevented 847 life-threatening confiscations. The Walmart parking lot became pilgrimage site for disability advocates, while handicapped space number 3 remained permanently reserved as National Monument to Dignity, Perseverance, and the power of unexpected alliances that transform individual trauma into systematic change. 5 years later, Carlos Rodriguez served as United Nations Disability Rights Ambassador, while Morrison's legal advocacy had freed 200-plus wrongfully imprisoned disabled individuals whose cases had been mishandled by untrained officers. Steel's Iron Brotherhood operated internationally, while their motto, Angels in Leather, had become global symbol for unlikely protectors serving vulnerable populations. Danny Morrison's birthday became National Disability Awareness Day, while his brother's transformation had proven redemption possible when accountability included genuine commitment to change rather than superficial compliance. They learned that some battles are fought with weapons, others in parking lots, but the most important ones are fought when choosing growth over grief transforms individual trauma into collective healing that protects vulnerable populations from those who would abuse authority rather than serve humanity, whose dignity depends on angels wearing whatever uniform, badge, or leather that justice requires when disabled citizens need protection from ignorance that systematic education and compassionate accountability can overcome through sustained commitment. Some battles are fought with weapons, others in parking lots, but the most important ones are fought when choosing growth over grief transforms individual trauma into collective healing that protects those who've already sacrificed everything for freedom.